Today I want to tell you how I know that Q is real, and I'll explain what Q is as well. Maybe you have no idea what I'm talking about, but it's good news, so stay tuned. My name is Kenda Mogford. Welcome to Lift Your Spirit. If you're interested in patriotic, motivational, and Christian t-shirts and accessories, check out my Etsy shop. I'll put a link in the description. I think the easiest way to describe Q is as a covert military operation, and it's a global operation. And I'm going to explain more about Q in a bit. But today I want to tell you 5 reasons why I believe Q is real, and I'm going to share that information so you can make up your own mind. You're going to want to stay tuned to the end because the last reason is the most powerful reason how I know that Q exists. Someone recently asked me why I believe in Q, and I said because I have faith. She's a Christian, and she said, well, I have faith too in God. And although I didn't say this at the time, but I was thinking afterward, yes, absolutely, you should have faith in God. That's your number one. However, I also have faith in humanity. There are many more good people in this world than bad people. And the good people in this world are not going to sit back and let evil take over. With God's help, we will be victorious. Now you might say, well, faith is your opinion. No, it's not an opinion. Faith is a choice. There are a couple of pastors I've heard say that recently. One of them, I believe, is Kenneth Hagen in his book, The Authority of the Believer. And I'll put a link to that below. Faith is a choice that we make. It's not something we have or don't have. The second reason is because there are prophets who tell us that things are going on behind the scenes. And that's the second kind of faith that you should have. Now, faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. So God tells us to have faith even though we cannot see things that are going on. There's a prophet named Larkin who actually gave a prophecy about Q. I will post the link to that in the description. The reason we can believe the prophets, and there are false prophets, so you do have to be careful. The reason we can believe what the prophets say is because it says so in the Bible. Amos chapter 3 verse 7 says, God does nothing without first revealing it to his prophets. The third reason is because the cabal, the deep state, is a Babylonian system. And Babylon always falls. There's a scripture that says Babylon has fallen. Babylon was an ancient evil empire. It fell in the past and it's going to fall again. If you want to hear more about this, you can watch this video right here. But basically, Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 9 says there's nothing new under the sun. So what has happened in the past will happen again until we come to the end. And you may say, well, what does the fall of Babylon have to do with Q? Q is a military operation that is bringing down the deep state. The fourth reason I believe in Q is because the media has come against Q so hard. According to Dave Hayes, and I will tell you who he is in a minute, there are over 3,000 articles of the mainstream media coming against Q. That right there tells you that it's real. We know you can't trust the media. We know it's fake news. Q also exposed more about the CIA than anyone in the history of the internet. That tells you something too. If you want to check out Q for yourself, I will put a link in the description. The fifth and most powerful reason how we can know that Q is real is because of the Anons, and also a guy named Derek Johnson. Anons are basically tech specialists who decipher the codes and the Q drops. The Q drops are the posts that are posted by Q, and we don't know exactly who Q is. We don't know if it's one person or a few, but they decode the Q drops and they make connections. They do the research. Q asks questions, Anons do the research. They make connections between the Q drops and also what Trump posts. Dave Hayes is also called the praying medic. He's a medic who helps people heal by praying for them. He wasn't interested in Q. He wasn't interested in conspiracy theories, but he became interested because it all started making sense. And he explains his story a lot better in his books. He wrote 3 books that really explain Q really well and give you much more information. I highly recommend them. I have read the first book and I'm on the second book right now. And these are the books here. This is the first one, The Calm Before the Storm. The second one is called The Great Awakening. And the third one is called This Is Not a Game. I will put links to these books in the description. Last but not least is Derek Johnson. Derek Johnson is a veteran who explains the following. He says, I take the UCMJ, military regulations, military operations, military codes, military symbolism, the Declaration, Articles of the Constitution, executive orders, national emergencies, presidential acts, the United States Code, and combine all of those in a visual and chronological form from January 20th, 2017 to present day to show you how law and order and the military are in control and President Trump is a wartime president in a Commonwealth Act style of government. Derek Johnson has a video that explains all of this. I will put a link in the description. He also has a 4-part PDF series to explain all of this in greater detail. This is the first PDF here. It's pretty thick. I've downloaded the next 2 and I'll be reading those after this one, but very informative. He gives proof of Q and this covert military operation and proof that President Trump is in control of the military and there are things going on behind the scenes to take down the deep state. Now, I will say there is some disinformation in the Q movement. That's true. Q even says that. Q says disinformation is real and disinformation is necessary. And the reason it's necessary is because they know that the enemy follows them. The enemy follows Q. They follow the Q drops. So there must be disinformation. So they won't know Q's plan. Just to recap very quickly, 5 reasons how I know that Q is real. 1, I have faith in humanity. 2, there are prophets that say there are good things going on behind the scenes. 3, Babylon is an evil system that fell in the past, and so it has to fall again. 4, the media has come against Q so many times. And 5, there is evidence out there to prove that Q is real through people like Dave Hayes and Derek Johnson. And there are many more as well. I hope this video gave you hope and encouragement today. Thank you for watching. God bless you.